Hello everyone, this is Gabriel Mkandawire, and today I'm here to present you the education system. The education system which is relative to the Moroccan education system. As we know, the purpose of the education system is for intellectual improvement and also developmental goals. Thereby, we'll class and decompose the education system to what was and to the education system which is approaching us. Before we go into details, we're going to decompose and class the things we'll look at to clearly explain the education system in Morocco. We'll begin with high school system LMD, then lastly, the bachelor's system. One key factor to pay attention to is the change of academic system. As the academic year which is approaching us, 2020-2021, Morocco is going to change its academic system from system LMD to the bachelor's system. This change will only affect the first year students of 2020-2021, which are the French year students of 2019-2020. The academic system, the high school academic system. As we are well aware about the Zambian high school system, is based on generality. We study different aspects of we are generalized, whereby the Moroccan high school system is based on specialization. They do specialize in their high school, which makes a clear distinction between the two systems. Because of the specialized system in the Moroccan high school system, that's what directly points and leads to what's known as the system LMD. Thereby, what is this system LMD? Before we go into details about the system LMD, the Moroccan education system offers a multitude of courses where one has multiple options of specialties. These specialties and options of studies are in line of medicine, engineering, paramedics, architecture, arts, literature, among others. In the academic year 2003-2004, Morocco adopted a new academic system which is being applied in 15 public universities. This new academic system is what is known as the academic system which was adopted in 2003-2004 academic year is what's known as the system LMD. What is this system LMD? System LMD simply is clearly described by the abbreviation LMD. L pointing to what's known as Licence or Bachelors of Arts, M, Masters, D, Doctorate. The pedagogical system LMD, Bachelors of Arts, Masters, and Doctorate, is based on training courses called branches and consists of a 3-level module teaching system. First year, Bachelors of Arts or Licence consists of 6 semesters course resulting to Bachelors of Arts. Secondly, Masters of Arts comprising of courses over 4 semesters after the Bachelors of Arts and leading to the degree of Masters of Arts or Specialized Masters of Arts. Then the third level of the LMD system is what's known as the Doctorate, with 3 years of training, also known as Bac plus 8. As Masters is known as Bac plus 5, then Licence or Bachelors of Arts known as Bac plus 3 in the system LMD. To clearly explain what happens and opportunities which come with this system LMD is this diagram here with me, which is going to help us go into details of each, the Licence, Bachelors of Arts, Masters, and the Doctorate. To begin with, this starts with high school. The high school, which is called high school. Upon graduation of high school, a student will enter university the first semester, semester 1, semester 2, semester 3, semester 4. and usually what are known as class preparatoire or Bac +3. With respect to the school you are in, you can either, in the first 2 years of university, you can either gain a DEUG or a DEUP. The DEUP is a Diplôme d'études universitaires générales, and DEUP is Diplôme d'études universitaires professionnelles. These two classes are based on the school you are in, but both DEUG and DEUP are simply what's known as a Bac +2. After gaining Bac +2, there are two opportunities which await a student. It's either one goes to study further and study their licence or Bachelors of Arts, also known as Bac +3, licence, and then there are two types of these types of licence. So a student who studies Bac +2 in the category of DEUG has got two options: to either go and study licence fundamental or go into the industry and search for a job. Same thing for a DEUP. They can go and study licence d'études professionnelles or search for a job. After going into the job industry, these students have got an option of returning back to school and continue with their studies. When they go into their third year, which is the final year of Bac +3, the final year, you have 2 semesters of specialization. In the first, similar to both of them, the licence d'études fondamentales, let's just call it, and licence d'études professionnelles, let's just call both of them Bac +3. In the semester 5 of Bac +3, is a semester of specialization and approfondissement, simply going into depth of your studies. You study in this S5, semester 5, you do your theoretical studies, but in the 6th semester and last semester, normally in all these years, the first year, second year, until the 6th year, each semester has got 6 modules. It has got 6 modules. So in the 6th semester with 6 modules, these 6 modules will be divided into 2 parts. One of the three modules will be studied theoretically until the middle of the semester, and then at the middle of the semester, exams are set for students in their final year studying the Bac +3. At that middle of the semester, after writing their exams, they put everything aside and then take their theory into practical, thereby allowed to do what's known as a PFE, which is a final year project. This final year project has got 2 options. A student can either study theoretical studies of doing research, or rather go into an enterprise and do internship, commonly known as stage. After finishing the final year project, for at least a month to 2 months, a student is allowed to present and defend their final year project by a jury. That jury will give them a mark of the final year project. Those marks will comprise, the marks given will be equivalent to the average over 3 modules. After that, a student is awarded the bachelor's degree, which is Bac +3, the Bachelors of Arts. Same thing again, upon reaching this point, either licence professionnelle or licence fondamentale, a student is allowed to, has got mainly 2 options: to study masters or to go into employment. And then after employment, a student can easily go back and then continue further their studies. But the advantage with the licence fondamentale is that they have got a wide range of options. A student studying licence fondamentale has got options to study what's known as a master's fondamentale, which was classed as a Masters of Arts generally, and then this specialized Masters of Arts, which is a Masters spécialisé. So students with a licence d'études fondamentales can either study Masters fondamentale or Masters spécialisé, or go into the job sector, whereby the one who does a licence d'études professionnelles has got an option to go into the workplace or study master's spécialisé. It goes further to masters, what's known as a bac plus 5. In this bac plus 5, there are 3 semesters. So there are 4 semesters. The first 2 semesters, the first year of masters, doesn't matter, either you are doing master's spécialisé or master's fondamental. The first 2 years is what's to call année de spécialisation. Then the final year is called année de approfondissement. After the third semester of masters, one will study all the theoretical aspects going into depth. And then in the fourth semester, a student will no longer study theoretical aspects, but rather prepare their final year project, also known as PFE. In this PFE, the entire semester of S4, a student has also an option to either study a theoretical case or go into the industry and do internship for at least 3 months. After these 3 months, a student can go back and present to defend their final year project. Then at this point, the student has been awarded what's known as a master's. Furthermore, student also has option to go for work or further their studies into doctorate. Then at this doctorate level, the student will study for 3 years training and then be awarded what's known as a bac plus 3. So LMD is, we can simplify as what? Bac plus 3, bac plus 5, and bac plus 8. Planning of the academic year. The academic year consists of 2 semesters, each spanning a 16-week period of teaching and assessment. It is divided into 2 sessions. The first is the 4th session from September to early February, thereby completing the first semester of an academic year. Then the second semester of an academic year is a spring session from mid-February to late January. The Bachelors of Arts or Licence study branch is divided into 6 semesters. The first, the third, and the 5th semesters are placed during the 4th session. And semester 2, semester 4, and semester 6 semesters take place during the spring session. Thereby, the Bachelors of Arts study branch comprises of 36 modules, 24 of which form the DEUG, General University Study Diploma, DEUP, Professional University Study Diploma. So these 36 modules of the Bachelors of Arts or Licence, 24 of them are what form what's known as a bac plus 2 or a general diploma. Each semester consists of 6 modules. The national diploma issued by universities in the system LMDA are bac plus 2, which is classed as DEUG, General University Study Diploma, DEUP, Professional University Study Diploma, corresponding to a 4th semester course where you study 24 modules. This DEUG or DEUP, these are general terms, simply just general terms. But with respect to the university and the course you are studying, it's named, the name changes, but it only points to this DEUG. Most public schools, for example, the DEUP for the school known as EST is called DUP, and the DEUG for a school for FST is known as DEUST. And for other schools, the names vary with respect to the school and the paper you have obtained. The Bachelors of Arts Bachelors of Arts Licence corresponds to 2 semesters after the bac plus 2, DEU. The Masters of Arts or Specialization Masters Arts, MA, corresponds to a 4th semester after the Licence, Bachelors of Arts. Doctorate lasting for at least 6 semesters of studies in research and seminars. Licence grading system. The Bachelors of Arts degree is awarded with one of the following classifications. If the general mark of a module is at least 16 or out of 20, the module will be considered as with a moyenne over très bien or first class honors or A+. Same thing, if the general average whilst you are studying your license at the end of the 3 years, the back plus 3, at the end of if your general average is at least 16 or above, you will be classed with a moyenne known as très bien, or what's commonly known as an A+ graduate in the English system. It follows up, lowering the classes. If the mark is at least 14 and less than 16 out of 20, you'll be classed with a moyenne known as bien, or second class honors, or in English also commonly known as an A student. Followed by, if the mark is at least 12 and less than 14 out of 20, the moyenne will be known as assez bien, third class honors, or a B+ or a B student. The B and the B+ is in the English system, but in the system LMD, the giving of a B+ or a B is only dependent with the person who translates, but they are not classed into two parts, or it's only known as assez bien, which can be translated to either a B+ or a B. Passable. If the mark is at least 10 and less than 12 out of 20, the moyenne will be classed as a moyenne passable, fourth class honors, or a C student. Exceptions to the system LMD. As we have taken note that the system LMD follows the aspect which is 3 years of study, you get your license or Bachelors of Arts, and then you study your master's and then the doctorate. But there are certain schools, for example, the faculty or a student who is studying medicine, instead of studying 3 years to obtain their degree, they actually study more years compared to the other people who study 3 years to obtain their degree. But both either a student doing medicine or some other course which lasts 3 years in the system LMD, the medical students will study more years to obtain their degree or Bachelors of Arts in Medicine. Same aspect in dental medicine. Dental medicine, the number of years, they do not respect the quick flow of the system LMD. Pharmacy, instead of studying from step to step, from license, master's to doctorate, they quickly jump their study period. They study until they obtain their doctorate in pharmacy. Engineering cycle, ENCG, Les Grandes Écoles, École Nationale d'Architecture, all these they have a slight change to the basic rule we studied above of the system LMD. The engineering cycle, a little info on the engineering cycle. There are particular schools which, okay, a little back. When we looked at the back +2 here, the DUG or the DUEP, whilst a student is studying this, there are people who do not study what's known as back +3, and then they are involved in, they have to study back +2. Then the other opportunity which is there after the back +2, the DEUG and DEUP, is the aspect of integrating in what's known as a engineering cycle. In order to integrate yourself into the engineering cycle, there are two options, because there are schools with a structure like ENSA, ENSAM, the ENCG. They easily just they study the whole course for 5 years without stopping somewhere. But in as much they are advancing, the levels are advancing into masters. So schools, for example, like which follow the rules of the civil engineer. There are some schools with back +2, and once they are students, for example, ENSA and ENSAM, once their back +2 has been validated, they are allowed to integrate and enter what's known as an engineering cycle. In this engineering cycle, a student will study for 3 years in specialization. Same thing for ENCG. ENCG, a student will study for 2 years and then integrate and finish up the details on how it's an exception will be explained by the person who explained further on what's known as the ENCG. So in the engineering cycle, the grands écoles, what are known as the grands écoles, most of them, they do not have what's known as the Bac+2. So the students studying in other faculties and other universities, they study their Bac+2 and then they are supposed to sit for what's known as a concours or a national exam. Furthermore, we look at the aspect of École Nationale d'Architecture. The architecture students, they do not also follow step by step, but they rather study until they obtain their masters. So that's an idea of the system LMD, which has been used from the year 2003 until 2004. But today, as we are aware, next academic year, we're adapting a new system. Some of the factors to why the new system is being adapted is because of the market competence at international level and also the capabilities, the people who studied science compared to those who studied bachelor science on their capabilities once they were placed into what's known as the industrial sector. The performance was not that, after several studies, they were not doing that well compared to the people who studied bachelor science. So Morocco decided to adapt this new system in order to improve the higher education system and also to open up the aspect of international aspect, as they have noticed many Anglophone countries and other non-Anglophone countries, they use what's known as the system, but there's a bachelor's system, and then it has been advantageous, and it's the study system which has got high demand on the market international. So once that is done, once Morocco changes to that, it means they are opening their students to the worldwide standard which is being followed. So one of the objectives of this bachelor system is to install what is known as année fondatrice. In this, the année fondatrice is simply the first academic year of the 4 years in the bachelor's system. Then this année fondatrice, it will help students to allow them to have a soft transition from high school into the university. Another objective is to optimize orientation. As we move to the next slide, we'll look at the aspect of année fondatrice here, whereby a student will study different disciplines in order, and then at this point they'll be able to choose different domains after the first year, which clearly respect optimizing of orientation. Like students, there will be a process of orientation after first year to help students choose what they see, the course they see favorable to them. Therefore, they also even describe this new system as a student going with the flow as they do their course of studying. Another objective of the année fondatrice is opportunities to change direction after the first year, as it is here. You study here, and then the second year here, you'll be able to choose what's known as, you choose another domain. Language learning. In this new system, several international languages will be installed in the system. Languages such as French, English, and Spanish. Arabic could be inclusive. Also, broaden international education opportunities. As it has been noted, the bachelor system has got a higher market compared to the license. So by doing the bachelor system, it will broaden international education opportunities, such as scholarships and furthermore of the Moroccan students. So here is this, a structure explaining the new academic system which is about to be adopted in Morocco. A student to study there, this part which is hidden is just pointing a person who has obtained their high school certificate. Then they will be integrated into their first year, studying different modules just pointing and guiding to have a broad view of different fields. Then with respect to how a student sees these modules and how they relate to them and objective to the future, even give students to question their dream, either if this field is really made for them. So like the system will allow students to have an overview over of several fields. So after that, there will be what's known as orientation, choix du domaine, choix du champ disciplinaire, then choix du domaine. After the first year here, students will be allowed to choose different domains. Then this will be what will be known as the core curriculum, the tronc commun, the core curriculum. After the core curriculum here, after studying the core curriculum in 2 years, a student will be allowed to specialize. Let's go back for a second on the champ disciplinaire. At this point, students will also be allowed to integrate and they'll be able to change fields, first of all. Secondly, they'll be allowed to also change universities, going into other universities to be able, so that they can be able to pursue their domain. Then third year, after they have already chosen their domain, in their third year, they go into specialization. This year of specialization, students will choose their choice of study and then go into depth to really understand further. Then after the year of specialization, it goes into the année approfondissement. You go into further depth, but some modules in the année de spécialisation, the third year, some modules of what are known module de approfondissement will be studied in the third year before you go into your fifth year, then into your fourth year. And then in the fourth year, that's where what's known as the final year project will be done, the PFE, which will be done between semester 7 and semester 8. Upon completion of all these years and studying several modules, you will be obtain what's known as a bachelor's degree. This is another structure to explain, which shows exactly the steps, like step by step to the integration, the step by step each year, and what is classed for. Then these are types of modules, the modules which are classed to, which like modules will be classed, modules will be classed, and so on. So, as you are studying all these 4 years, how do you make it? How are you able to validate your year, your semester, and to be able to graduate? What are the rules which will help you validate and obtain your bachelor's degree? The first thing to look at is that each semester will comprise over 6 modules, and then looking at all the 4 years, a student will end up studying 48 modules. In order to validate this one semester, a student has to obtain 30 credit points. One other factor about this bachelor system is that they are going to adapt what is known as capitalisation, credit décapitalisation, which simply means results will be given in terms of points. So in the first, a semester will be validating by obtaining 30 credit points minimum. If you have 30 credit points minimum, it implies the semester has been validated. Then in order to validate a year, a student has to obtain 60 credit points. There you go. The semester has been validated with minimum of 60 credit points. Then at the end of 4 years, a student should be able to obtain 240 credit points. Thereby, you'll be classed as a graduate with a bachelor's degree with the 240 points minimum. Certain modules are class dependent with their objectives to why they are installed into the system. For example, we have what's known as module disciplinaire. Module disciplinaire, the objective and benefit of the module disciplinaire is to strengthen the competence gained during high school. So most of these module disciplinaire will be found in what's known as the the année fondatrice, which is simply the first year, which helps students to have what? A soft transition from high school into the university. Module de soft skills. This module of soft skills will allow students to adapt to the university work methodology. Module de ouverture. Module de ouverture allows students to discover other disciplines. Also, module de ouverture will strengthen students' values and general culture. Module de langue. Module de langue, the objective is only to develop language skills. And some of the languages which will be integrated into the system of bachelors is Arabic, French, English, Spanish, among others. And the language will be dependent with the field one is studying. Course of study. The course of study of the bachelors is 4 years. A student can reduce their time of study due to their ability to gain capitalization credits. These extra capitalization credits can begin during summer school of language, summer school of soft skills, summer schools over, by doing the PFE in the final year. During the summer. The PFE is simply the final year project. So by working on your PFE during the summer, one will be able to increase their capitalization credits. Credit points. A student can gain extra 3 points minimum each year due to their personal initiative and hard work. As we are transitioning from one course or from one system to the other, it never implies that this system was completely useless, but there are benefits which are carried by the system LMD which could not be found in the system bachelors. So Morocco has decided to integrate certain rules which are designed for the system LMD and integrate them into the bachelor system, or simply just maintain them. An example of the things which will be maintained is aspect of composition. Composition between modules during the semester and /O at the end of an academic year. How does this aspect of composition work? The aspect of composition simply works whereby you have got you have a semester which is almost validated but quite not validated. So if you have got a module which has got a higher mark, let's give for example you have a module with an average mark of 15, and then you have another module with an average mark of 7. Looking at those aspects, the module with the marker 7 has not been validated, and it hasn't really reached the minimum requirements in order for the module to be considered as validated. So in such a case, the system has got what's known as aspect of composition. The module with the higher marks will help validate the module with the lower marks, the 7. Therefore, finding the average, like the module with the average 7 will be noted as a module which has been validated by composition. So that aspect, which was commonly seen in the SANS, will be maintained in the bachelor's system. Reorientation. Students will have the possibility to change from one course to another, while respecting the rules and considering the marks they obtained in the previous year. Retropage. Retropage is simply an aspect where the university sets up exams to help those students who did not validate in their first exams, so that they can catch up. They can catch up and be able to validate their academic year. So this aspect will be maintained for in the new system. At the end of an academic year, retropages will be organized for students who did not validate their academic year. Reinscription. Students will have the possibility to rewrite more than once the modules they never validated. Planning of the academic year. The plan of the academic year will be maintained. Nothing will change based on that. only this. So the system will still carry on the plan of the academic year. By plan, I simply mean this. The first semester will be carried, will take place from September until February. The second semester in the academic year will take place from February till June. So this this will be maintained in the new system. Retropage and derivation. Retropage has already been described to what it is. Derivation is simply the aspect of releasing the general average of the general average pointing to the performance of your academic. Children. So this this will be maintained in the new system. Retropage and derivation. Retropage has already been described to what it is. Derivation is simply the aspect of releasing the general average of the general average pointing to the performance of your academic.